maximum. Disruptions to service are expected to be minimal.
If only they knew.
What's this?
A remote-operated camera. It'll provide us with a feed while you're on mission. This will let us talk to each other.
We're almost there, so listen up. The artifact is in an office penthouse in Lower Manhattan. At this time of night, direct infiltration is going to get you noticed. I think we're better off having you drop in from above.
What do you mean, above? Can you hear me? Testing. Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Yep, read you just fine. Now why don't you power up the camera? I've got pictures. Running diagnostics. Perfect. I've got a nice strong signal.
Seriously, Sean? Fuck you. Jesus.
And on the not so bright side, the slightest misstep means you're effectively paced.
Shut up, Sean. Almost there, Desmond. Once you reach the top of the lit-up crane, you should be high enough to make the jump.
Should?
It'll be fine, don't worry.
Well, you might want to worry a little. I'm pretty sure she was high when she was running the numbers.
Sean!
Joke. It was a joke. Or was it?
Jump when you're ready, but wait for my signal to open the chute. Timing's really important here. Too soon or too late, and you'll miss the building. Now, open your chute.
That wasn't so bad.
So, you must be Desmond. Not exactly what I expected, but I guess your kind doesn't have many options these days.
Who are you?
Ask your father. Now give me that.
I don't think so.
Look, I'm not supposed to kill you, but the boss man didn't say anything about fucking you up. So you've got to the counter. Oh!
So who the hell is Daniel Cross?
Believe it or not, he used to be an assassin. The assassin, the way I've heard it told, but it turned out he was a sleeper agent for Abstergo, programmed to...
We could be compromised.
They must have caught me snooping inside their network and sent Cross to see what we were after. If they were aware of our current location, we'd know. Though, I will say this. It doesn't bode very well for future expeditions.
I've set up some cameras topside. If anyone shows up, we'll see it.
I'd suggest you go see about finding a socket for that power source. Or we can return to Connor if you prefer. All the artifacts in the world won't mean a thing without the key.
Wonder what's inside.
Only one way to find out.
What is a fact? Is it fixed? Immutable? Certain in its existence and only awaiting discovery? Or might it be changed? Here we learned the answer, and thought that it might save us. They were used to command, to control, to own. But we soon discovered another use. When enough sat in thrall and were told to believe, their thoughts took on form. What was imagined became real. If 100 minds could wish away a wall or create a tree, what might 1,000 do? 10,000? More? Might we change the consensus and will the threat away? We resolved to send one into the sky where it might illuminate us all. Once placed, a sentence would be uttered. Make us safe. In this way, we would change the consensus. We would save the world. But it never came to be. We sent a dozen of them skyward, but there was no way to maintain control, to direct the beam, to enthrall the world, to speak the words. Though this was strange and dangerous, what we tried next was worse. Our first instinct was to travel back, to change the past. But we could not find a way. But forward. We could look forward. And so here we sought to see beyond ourselves and know what was to come. First, we watched to learn if our work would succeed. But the answer was always the same, so we moved on to other things. But she remained. The one you call Minerva. In time, she too stopped looking, and instead began to speak. She called out across time, in the hopes that you might be saved. She hid messages where none might find them, save for you and those within this place.
Fascinating.
I'm tired of it. The cryptic warnings, the threats. Just tell us what you want!
But they are. We saw the Nephilim there. We seemed like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and we looked the same to them. Imagine trying to explain all this to a 2-year-old, to a grasshopper. When they said the will of the gods was unknowable, they meant it. Literally.
I killed her, you know. I killed Lucy.
It was the apple, son. It was Juno.
I saw what she was. What would happen if I let her live? I could have stopped myself. I mean, there was a force there. But I didn't have to. I chose to.
Desmond.
Lucy was going to betray us and take the apple back to Abstergo. I saw the satellite launched. I saw them turn it on, and then... it failed. Whatever's on the other side of that door, it benefits Juno. We need to be careful.
know everyone thinks I'm being silly, but I can't shake the feeling we're being watched.
We are being watched. By Juno. Or some version of her.
Do you think it's a recording? Or is she a ghost? Or something else? Is she talking to us the way Minerva talked to Ezio?
No clue. I mean, who knows what else they were working on down here? There's still so many rooms we don't have access to.
But do you think she's like literally down here, waiting somewhere, still alive?
Still alive? That's mental. That means she'd be at least 75, 80,000 years old? Oh, powerful, yeah, but not that powerful.
They came down here looking for a way to survive. Maybe they found one.
Son, I owe you an apology. I shouldn't have lashed out like that. You have to understand, I've never been very good at this. Never mind that we live rather extraordinary lives.
Yeah, I kinda liked my ordinary one.
You can't escape who you are, Desmond.
So I've noticed.
Look, it's silly for us to go back and forth like this. I admit, I did a shitty job raising you. I apologize, I'm sorry. But it's important you understand it didn't come from a bad place. You're my son. I love you. I guess I was so busy trying to make sure nothing bad happened, I didn't consider the consequences. Truce.
Ah, Desmond, there you are. Can I ask a favor?
Maybe?
When this is all over, I'd like to try turning the dial back on the Animus. Like, all the way back. To the time of the first civilization.
You think it would work?
There was no real loss of fidelity when you visited Altair. Then again, that was about 1,000 years ago, and I'm looking at going back at least 70,000 more.
Sure, I'd be up for it. Be interesting to see what things were like back then.
Excellent. I think it would prove most enlightening. So this is how it started.
What are you up to?
Just brushing up on my American history. I say history. They certainly teach you strange things in the States.
Like what?
Well, for all the talk of this being a revolutionary war, it was a civil one. Well, not that kind of civil. I mean, there was no America versus Britain. It was Brit on Brit action. And you can clearly see how the whole thing got started. One war gave birth to the other.
You mean the 7 Years' War?
Exactly. Seems the Crown overspent in its attempt to keep the French out, wound up with a great deal of debt. Believing that the colonists should help to shoulder the burden, new taxes were created. It was a reasonable request, even if Parliament was rather, well, undiplomatic about it.
Well, it's not really fair to tax people for a war they didn't want any part of.
What? Didn't want any part of? Did you not notice George Washington with Edward Braddock? He was right there in the middle of it. So here you have the Crown spending who knows how much money to secure a place for the colonists to thrive, and then, when they ask for a little bit of help... Right, look, think of it this way. King George and the colonists, they all go out to dinner, right? And when the bill comes, George asks for them to kick in and pay their share. Fair enough. Now keep in mind, he's been taking them out to dinner gratis for decades now. But the colonists, oh no, they insist they only had a glass of water and a side salad. Never mind the table's full of half-eaten food and empty bottles of wine. Now when the king points this out, what do the colonists do? Oh, they flip the table over and they storm out the restaurant. Probably intending to return later and burn it down.
You left out the part where the king pointed a gun at the colonists and asked them to cover dinner for everyone in the restaurant.
Right, yeah, interesting take. If he pulled out a gun, and I'm not sure he did, it would only have been after the 100th failed attempt at getting them to pay their fair share.
But how do you define someone's fair share?
Oh, well, with a war, apparently. I wonder how many other places like this exist.
There are dozens of them, all over the world.
And somehow no one's ever found one before us.
I don't think...
Oh?
When I was at Abstergo, Vidic talked about silencing discoveries made by non-Templars. And I'm sure Abstergo has dug up plenty.
The things they must know.
Regretting throwing in with us?
No. Just looking forward to when we can finally trounce those bastards so I can dive into their archives. Oh, I think I found a lead on another power source. Later, Desmond. I'm in the middle of something very important right now. That's a rule. Just follow that as a rule.
I can't believe it's taken me so long to ask, but... how's Mom? She's not...
No. Your mother is fine. We decided it was safer if we split up for this job.
Always assuming the worst.
For good reason.
Can I at least say hi to her?
I'm sorry, it's too risky. Maybe when we're done.
Right. When we're done.
Good luck, Desmond.
These are troubled times. The already uneasy alliance between the Crown and its subjects frays. And behind them both the Templars plot, pulling strings them. And what conspiracies have they already spun? All these things I must determine. For only by knowing my enemy can I hope to stop them.
Kana, spare a moment.
Of course.
Have a look.
What is it?
A Xingbao, or rope dart if you prefer. One of the many plans given to us by Xiao Yun to...
Sorry.
We'll have to work on this.
Ganondogo,
Yes, my friend.
what brings you here? Is the village all right?
For now.
What do you mean? What has happened?
Men came, claiming we had to leave. They said that the land was being sold, and that the Confederacy had consented. We sent an envoy, but they would not listen.
You must refuse!
We cannot oppose the Sachem, but you're right as well. We cannot give up our home.
Do you have a name? Do you know who is responsible?
He's called William Johnson.
Where is Johnson now?
In Boston, making preparations for the sale.
Sale! This is theft!
Kana, take care. These men are powerful.
What would you have me do? I made a promise to my people.
If you insist upon this course of action, seek out Sam Adams in Boston. He'll be able to help. What have you done?
When my people go to war, a hatchet is buried into a post to signify its start. When the threat is ended, the hatchet is removed.
You could have used a tree.
Residents, a new bylaw.
Sanctions and demonstrations won't suffice, Sam. We need to act, and I'm talking about more than a sternly worded letter.
I sympathize with your frustrations, gentlemen. But surely you can understand my reluctance to kick the hornet's nest. Ah, Connor. Hello again. What brings you to Boston?
You.
Would you excuse... Thank you. That conversation was about to turn unpleasant. Now, what can I do for you?
I was hoping you could help me locate William Johnson.
Of course. I'm headed to a meeting with some men who should be able to help. Why don't you come along? Ah, it's good to see the people finally taking a stand against injustice.
Says the man who owns a slave.
Ooh, sorry? I practice what I preach, my friend. She's not a slave, but a freed woman, at least on paper. Men's minds are not so easily turned. It's a tragedy that for all our progress, still we cling to such barbarism.
Then speak out against it.
We must focus first on defending our rights. When this is done, we'll have the luxury of addressing these other matters.
You speak as though your condition is equal to that of the slaves. It is not.
Tell that to my neighbor who was compelled to quarter British troops, or to my friend whose store was closed because he displeased the crown. The people here are no freer than Surrey.
You offer excuses instead of solutions. All people should be equal, and not in turns.
It's in turns, or not at all. We must
Hey! It's my home, no matter what you thieves called taxmen say! If the gums in Parliament who want to take my property, you tell them to sail across the pond and take it themselves!
It's not open for discussion now. Open this door or these men will break it down. Ah!
Ah, bollocks! We're coming in! Ah! I trust the mounting evidence is proof enough, Connor.
Continue on. I shall meet you at our destination.
That's all you have? Could use some support. You get...
Justice for once. I dare the governor to send more.
You all right?
I'm fine. It's not my first dance. For all their teeth and claws, these little foxes, they fight like puppies. Thank you, my friend. I'd buy you an...
Connor, I'd like you to meet some like-minded friends. The owner of this fine establishment, William Molyneux, and the manager and chef of his newest venture, Stéphane Chaffeau.
Ah! Connor and I just had a ball with some redcoats enforcing some taxmen outside my home.
The collectors grow bolder and more forceful. Something we must address, Samuel.
Then let us raise a banner. Something to let the people know that they are not alone. The docks are an angry place of late. Protesters picketing the latest shipments of British tea. The eyes of the city are upon that stage.
A Bostonian without his tea is a dangerous beast.
William Johnson is smuggling the tea off the ships. One of his men tried to sell me this. A sample of what I refused. But it's from those ships. No mistaking the stamp. He's charging a king's ransom. Must be he's making a mint off those who buy it.
Where is he now?
I've never met the man.
May I ask why you seek him, Connor?
He intends without the consent of my people.
No doubt the revenue from his little smuggling endeavor is financing the acquisition. A tax enforced on tea grants a boon to smugglers. I'll wager the same men who levy the taxes are selling the tea. A stage requires a spectacle, and I may know the play. Connor, head back to the docks and see to the destruction of the tea. If you should need us, return.
Pardon me.
Oh, come on, mate.